Good evening. Our developing story tonight, a shooting for the third day in a row, this time at East High School in Denver.
No students were injured, 2 teachers were shot.
Authorities say one teacher was rushed to the hospital in critical condition. The other is stable. Paramedics were already on the Denver High School campus dealing with another medical emergency, so they were able to help the shooting victims immediately after the incident. As for the student who allegedly fired the shots, school officials say the suspect is an 18-year-old who was under a safety plan. That meant he was patted down before school each day, and the suspect has fled the scene and a search is currently underway.
Meanwhile, investigations into 2 high school shootings here in North Texas continue. The victim in yesterday's shooting at Thomas Jefferson is recovering. Classes at that school will resume tomorrow with additional police presence. No suspect is in custody. At Lamar High School in Arlington, the alleged shooter is in custody and charged with capital murder. One student was killed in the incident Monday morning. The identity of the alleged shooter is not being released because he is a juvenile.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us on ntTV Nightly News. I'm Naomi Sanchez.
And I'm Mauricio Ortiz-Segura. Tonight, no real change in the drama surrounding Donald Trump. The former president is facing an indictment by a grand jury for allegedly paying hush money to an adult film star and using political campaign money for personal use. The New York grand jury is still hearing from witnesses. Regardless of the outcome, UNC political science professor Dr. Kimmy King says this is a historic development.
So we are in unprecedented, uncharted waters here in terms of this president and the number of not only lawsuits that he has faced, but as well the criminal investigations. And so we have not been able to, this has not been something that we've seen before. You have seen many a president and vice presidential scandal, but rising to the level of this kind of legal trouble, we've never seen before.
And while Donald Trump is dealing with the U.S. legal system, another politician is dealing with the international legal system. Vladimir Putin, leader of Russia, is now a wanted man. The International Criminal Court in the Netherlands has issued a warrant accusing Putin of war crimes. Their move is based on allegations that Putin ordered children from the war in Ukraine to be taken from their parents and transported to Russia. Dr. King says this is one charge that can unify global opinion about Putin.
Brilliant move to emphasize something that we can all agree on. Should Ukraine be separate? Should Ukraine be part of Russia? We might disagree about it, but separating children from their families, that's something the whole world gets behind.
Meanwhile, the Russian invasion of Ukraine continues, with Putin looking for more military aid from China.
Naomi, this weather this past week has been crazy and all over the place, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, we've had everything from fog, rain, wind, everything but spring weather. But I mean, today was a little different. So
I know.
nice.
That's exactly how I feel. And I'm really hoping we're going into tomorrow sort of like that too. So why don't we go in with our weather anchor, Kayla Bumpus, who can give us our first look. Kayla?
Luckily for you, Mauricio, we are going to be seeing some spring weather today and tomorrow. Let's take a look. Today's temperature right now, it is 80 degrees Fahrenheit, feeling a little bit warmer at 82 degrees. Wind speeds are pretty high at 19 miles per hour. Cloudy skies tonight. It's going to cool off to 72 degrees, feeling the same. Wind speeds slowing down a little bit to 17 miles per hour. We are going to continue to see some clouds, which will reflect tomorrow. There is a chance of thunderstorms early in the morning, so be aware of that. It's going to cool off to 70 degrees, and wind speeds are going to slow down to 13 miles per hour. That's all I have for now. Stay with me to see full weather. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Kayla. With all this March Madness going around, it's hard to think that women weren't always able to participate. And the NCAA set up a showcase for the 50th anniversary of Title IX here in Dallas to remind us why women are able to be a part of this wonderful national event. Now take a look.
This year is the 50th anniversary of the passing of the historic Title IX federal law. And the AT&T Discovery District in downtown Dallas is presenting the NCAA's Title IX 50th anniversary showcase. Title IX states that no person in the United States shall, on the basis of sex, be excluded from participation in, be denied the benefits of, or be subject to discrimination under any educational program or activity of receiving federal financial assistance. This landmark of a law targeted discrimination based on sex, sexual orientation, and gender identity, and allowed for all people to be acknowledged equally when it came to subjects such as recruitment, admissions, athletics, and more. Because of Title IX, the NCAA is able to put on a showcase like this, celebrating not only the history of women's college basketball, but also the histories of the Women's Basketball Coaches Association, the WNBA, Women's USA Basketball, the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, and more. Title IX has had a monumental impact on generations of women.
Yeah, I think that Title IX, I mean, like you said, I'm a second generation beneficiary of that. So having my mom be able to play a college sport and be on scholarship kind of, changed the trajectory that I had for my basketball career. So then I wanted to do the same as her, follow her pathway. And now I'm here on scholarship at Stanford. So Title IX paved the way for her, and it's allowed me to go amazing places that I could never imagine.
It opened on March 3rd, but the showcase will be on display until April 30th. And it comes right before the 2023 NCAA Women's Final Four match here in Dallas. So you'll definitely want to check it out before it's gone.
A special guest star from RuPaul's Drag Race will be coming to UNT soon. When you hear who it is, you might just race to get tickets to meet the star.
And water is something not many of us have to race for, but some do. More on how you can help save water coming up next.
Tonight, LGBTQ students and the community on the West Texas A&M campus are protesting action. The president of the university announced that drag shows on campus are canceled. Devin Darmstetter has the answer as to why.
WT students voicing their opinions.
He has a very misconstrued perception of what drag is as a culture, as a performance art, and we consider his comments to be rather abhorrent.
I agree with the president, and I think that it's great that he stood his ground and he's representing a lot of the voices that are scared to speak.
I think that drag is not dangerous. I think that drag is an expression of self and of joy. And I think if you don't like drag, you don't have to come to the show.
The point of the drag show was supposed to act as a fundraiser for the Trevor Project, a charity which helps prevent suicide in LGBTQIA+ youth. West Texas A&M University President Walter Wendler decided this event scheduled for March 31st would no longer take place on campus. Part of his email read, "As a university president, I would not support blackface performances on our campus, even if told the performance is a form of free speech or intended as humor. It is wrong."
So President Wendler in his email compared it to blackface, and that is very far from what it is. A drag show is a celebration. It's just something that people do to have fun.
Wendler goes on to say, "A harmless drag show? Not possible. I will not appear to condone the diminishment of any group at the expense of impertinent gestures towards another group for any reason, even when the law of the land appears to require it. Supporting the Trevor Project is a good idea. My recommendation is to skip the show and send the dough." However, many students disagree.
A drag show is harmless. It isn't as what he's making it to be. My identity as a trans individual is not a crime.
One of Wendler's main points in his email was that drag is a form of disrespect to women. He says, "Does a drag show preserve a single thread of human dignity? I think not. Drag shows stereotype women in cartoon-like extremes for the amusement of others and discriminate against womanhood.
Drag does not make a mockery of women. It is an expression of that individual person, and it is not about women as a whole. It is about that person and how they would like to express themselves playing a character, and it is in no way making fun of women.
It's a very big part of LGBT history. It is a form of self-expression, it's a form of celebration, and it should not have to be censored like this.
Meanwhile, UNT is hosting their own yearly drag show Thursday, April 6th, featuring a special guest from the popular TV series RuPaul's Drag Race. Students will also perform in drag, and the event is free to the public. Despite last year's show being canceled due to safety concerns, Pride Alliance and the University Program Council have no current plans to postpone. Tickets will go live closer to the date of the event.
And while tornadoes are common to the Texas and local area, the West Coast is experiencing highly unprecedented weather. California has been facing a deadly storm cycle that has caused torrential rains, flooding, high winds, and mountain snow. Laura Aguirre has a story.
The San Francisco area was hit particularly hard in the latest wave of unrelenting rain and high winds overnight. This semi-truck toppled in strong gusts, sweeping the Bay Bridge. The driver climbed out on his own.
Pretty crazy. Saw some boats like tilting across the waves.
In one case, big boats. At least 3 commercial barges broke loose and smashed into one of the city's historic bridges.
How they ended up in the channel, I'm not quite sure.
In the Bay Area, authorities say 2 people were killed in separate cases of trees falling on vehicles. Here in San Bernardino County, an SUV washed away into a tree. Fire officials there say the driver managed to climb out before waves swept his car downriver. Across the state, several cities have seen up to 200% jumps in rainfall this winter. One upshot, the U.S. Drought Monitor says the state's drought conditions have eased dramatically since December, from more than 80% of the state considered severe or worse, down to just 8%. Mountain snowfall is at near record highs in some areas. In the Sierra Nevadas, the Berkeley Central Sierra Snow Lab says it's the second snowiest season since they started tracking in 1946, with another 3 to 4 feet dumped there since Tuesday.
The snowpack's expected to stick around probably into July, if not into August at this point.
Meaning the slopes could be busy all through summer. I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
Around 115,000 homes are without power after falling trees took out power lines, especially in the Bay Area. The storms are expected to weaken tonight throughout today, but flood advisories remain in effect. And now let's hope that people in California don't have to experience this severe weather for much longer, Mauricio. It's truly saddening to see what's happening.
I agree, and I really hope we don't see any of that weather around here too either.
Yes,
so
sure.
Why don't we go with our weather anchor Kayla Bumpus, who can tell us about this in our full weather report. How about it, Kayla?
Luckily, right now in North Texas, we are seeing very temperate temperatures right now. Over in Denton, it is 80 degrees. In Paris, Texas, very similar at 78 degrees. And in Graham, Texas, it is 85. Across the state, we're seeing fairly similar temperatures, much warmer than we have been this year. In Austin, Texas, 77 degrees Fahrenheit. In Amarillo, 72. And in Abilene, it is much warmer at 87. Let's look at this week's forecast for Denton. This week, it is going to start off much warmer, and we are going to hit a cold front, which will make us see some of these lows throughout the week. Thursday is going to be very cloudy with a high of 79, a low of 63. Those clouds are going to continue on Friday, high of 79, a low of 48. Saturday, we're going to get some sun with a high of 73 and a low of 46. Sunday, partly cloudy. We're going to still get to enjoy some of that sun this weekend. Then the beginning of the week, we're going to start seeing more clouds. Monday, a high of 73, low of 45. Tuesday, a high of 64, a low of 47. And Wednesday, a high of 71 and a low of 56. That's all I have for this week. Thank you so much. I'm Kayla Bumpus. Back to the desk.
And butterflies are dying off in big quantities. Our own Talia Munson tells us more on what's causing this change in a critical environment population.
Thanks, Nomi. It's a beautiful day to be out in the garden. Initially, I came out here to see some butterflies, but instead I got swarmed with bees and wasps. Frost and extreme temperatures may be to blame since they are a huge factor in the decline of monarch butterflies. The area they occupied this winter dropped to 5.4 acres from 7 acres from the previous year. Experts say droughts, severe weather, loss of habitat, and climate change are a few threats to their migration. The number of monarch butterflies hibernating in the mountains of central Mexico dropped 22%. Now I'm going to spend the rest of my day searching for these soon-to-be rare butterflies, but it is a bit hot out here, so I'm going to need a glass of water. Camille, do you think you can help me out?
It's the kids' Universal too, so it's not even like cool Universal from Florida or something.
Celebrate International Water Day, as many around the world struggle for access to clean drinking water. The purpose of the event is to raise awareness worldwide about the importance of clean water, which comes at a crucial period as 1/4 of the world's population lacks access to clean drinking water, causing 1.2 million deaths every year. The city of Denton posted on social media that it's Fix a Leak Week, as the Environmental Protection Agency reports nearly 1 trillion gallons are wasted every year through household leaks. The city urges residents to check faucets and pipes to make sure no water is being wasted. Some other ways of checking for leakages are looking at your monthly water usage, checking the water meter when water is cut off, and checking shower heads and outdoor faucets. To find a full list, you can visit EPA.gov and search Fix a Leak Week.
Thanks, Camille. Saving on water is a great way to help the environment. Well, let's talk about how you can improve your health. Recent studies on the benefits of coffee coming up.
And lucky for us, Mauricio, there's a lot of excitement going on here in Denton that warrants for an extra cup of coffee. And later on, we'll tell you more about stores you can expect to see soon in Denton. Stay with us.
Has the weight of stress and anxiety ever felt too heavy to overcome? Wish there was a safe place to confide in? Wish granted. At UNT, we offer counseling and testing services to students located on the 3rd floor of Chestnut Hall. UNT, we're here for you.
Students and workers alike can rejoice as a new study released found coffee to be beneficial for preventing type 2 diabetes. Comparing the body mass index of those who consume caffeinated products to those who don't, caffeinated individuals have on average a lower BMI and are less likely of developing diabetes. Type 2 diabetes is a condition that threatens the lives of millions of people around the world, with roughly 1 in 10 Americans developing it due to a lack of insulin in the body, which is a natural hormone that breaks down sugar. The Center for Disease Control reports that diabetes is the 8th most common cause of death. Drinking more coffee is by no means a solution or preventative measure for diabetes, but hey, for coffee lovers like me, we'll take any victory we can get, anything to justify our morning coffee addiction. You know, Mauricio, the sound of coffee sounds good, but a margarita sounds better.
That's right, Naomi. And our very own Chris Goodwin tells us about a taco shop here in Denton that has everything from music to delicious vegan options. Stay with us.
Killer's Tacos is a hop skip away from Fry Street. Some might say it's Fry Street's stepchild. Completing their 7th-year business, I had to take a trip to celebrate all that taco glory. Tacos offers more than tacos to the Denton community. They provide music from all over the world and a cozy hangout. Taking over from their predecessor, a coffee shop, owner Joey Seeley was determined he can make a place special to bring the community together. But one thing he didn't expect to provide to the community was music.
The music came to us. We never intended to be a music venue. Maybe 3 or 4 months after we opened, we had people starting to ask if we were going to do music. A couple months after that, we realized that we had almost every day of the week booked for music and decided we better build a stage.
The self-proclaimed DIY music venue offers classic tacos with different twists, with meats ranging from carnitas, steak, chicken tinga, to vegan options as well. Killer Tacos offers vegan options such as elotes, their guac, and if the taco isn't already vegan-friendly, then the dish is able to be made in a way that accommodates.
It started with our employees. We had vegan employees who were here and they were working through the menu trying to make things for themselves to eat, and we kind of figured out how easy it was to convert what we had to vegan, and then we kind of kept moving through it and working even more, and it seems to be a pretty good option for a lot of people.
Killer Tacos, standing strong in the community for several years now, has made the taco spot become almost synonymous with music that isn't typical to your usual taco spot. Seeley described their usual sound as hardcore, even recently hosting a band all the way from UK. So, when COVID hit, Killer Tacos didn't know what to expect without their music aspect, but that did not stop the shop from serving the community.
The biggest challenge definitely was COVID. We had built a pretty successful music venue along with the restaurant, and then all of a sudden it just was the restaurant. And luckily we had been doing a lot of to-go as it was, because the music part of it makes it hard to sit down and just come to eat. So we were really good at doing to-go, and that kept us going through the pandemic until we were able to reopen the music part.
With deals like buy 2, get 1 free on Mondays and discounts on the Nice Rack that offers one of each of their 5 street tacos, it's not hard to see how the business overcame the pandemic. I am definitely going to see what the loaded baked taco is all about after the show. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Chris. With so many great places to eat in Denton, why not take a little shopping trip after dinner? A new shopping center is being developed over on University Drive. Chris Cordova has the story.
The shopping scene of Denton is about to get a lot larger. A new shopping center will bring more than 319,000 square feet of retail space to the Razor Ranch Town Center. Popular retail companies such as Target, At Home, and Dick's Sporting Goods are looking to add new store locations in the center. The shopping center is located at the corner of University Drive and Interstate 35 and is in the first stages of development. At Home is expected to open towards the end of 2023, but the timeline for the other stores is still uncertain. We'll keep you updated on all the new places to shop as the story develops. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Chris. The world of sports has been heating up. Japan beat the U.S. in the World Baseball Classic. The NBA season is over in a few weeks, and the NFL free agency is already over. I'm having a hard time keeping track of it all.
I mean, Mauricio, it is a lot, but luckily we have our sports anchor, Jasmine Grace, who can give us some better insight on what happened this past week. Jasmine, what can you tell us?
After the break, I'll talk to you guys about some Cowboys offseason moves, some mean green news, and a potential World Cup destination that may or may not surprise you. So stay with us.
What does Talons do?
So I am the Vice President of External Relations for Talents. That means that I basically oversee all the external committees. Our external committees entail our Model A, it's a mean green machine. So they bring it to football games especially, so every game it's kind of there, every home game. The Model A is like a symbol of UNC pride, and it's a big tradition that we are so lucky to uphold and maintain. When people look at it, they see it, and they're like, oh, that's the mean green machine. There must be a game today or something to ramp up school spirit for basketball, softball, volleyball, any of those things. We have amazing teams, so we just want to show school spirit for them. Bonfire committee, which is in charge of putting together the bonfire every year for homecoming. It's kind of just a whole semester-long process up until build week that we have to put together and oversee and make sure safety regulations are followed and risk management is taken care of. Cannon crew, which oversees and takes care of the cannon. They fire it at games, they take it to special occasions.
The Dallas Mavericks play the Golden State Warriors tonight at home. The Mavericks have 10 regular season games left, and each one is super important for the playoffs. Dallas is currently the 8th seed, and the Warriors are currently the 6th. There's only 2 games that separate the 5th and the 10th seed in the Western Conference, so every night the standings could change. Dallas is hoping to have their star Luka Doncic back tonight after missing the last 5 games with a thigh injury. Last time the Warriors and the Mavs played, Luka had 41 points with 12 rebounds and 12 assists. He also had 4 steals and a block. The Mavericks could definitely use that tonight as they face a really talented Warriors team. The game starts at 6:30 and will air on ESPN, so check it out if you're available. The Dallas Cowboys made another offseason move. The Cowboys have traded for Brandon Cooks, a wide receiver from the Houston Texans. Cooks has been traded 4 times, which ties the record for being the most traded player in NFL history. The Cowboys traded a 2023 5th-round pick and a 2024 6th-round pick for Cooks. The Texans agreed to pay $6 million of Cooks' $18 million contract, so his base salary became $12 million for the Cowboys, and then the Cowboys reconstructed his new contract, so now Cooks will only count $6 million against the Cowboys' salary cap. Cook said he truly can't wait to come out and help the team win, and I know Cowboys fans are excited as well. Mean Green fans, get excited. Our boys are headed to Las Vegas to compete in the NIT semifinals and hopefully for an NIT championship. The Mean Green took on the Oklahoma State Cowboys last night in Stillwater, Oklahoma. The game ended up going to overtime. It was a thriller, but the Mean Green were able to pull it out with the final score being 65-59. Tyler Perry for the Mean Green was the leading scorer with 23 points, and our leading rebounder was Malaya Sissoko, who had 15 rebounds. It was a very back-and-forth game between both teams, and the intensity was so high. The Mean Green are now one of 4 teams left in the NIT tournament and will play in the semifinals on Tuesday, March 28th against Wisconsin, who defeated Oregon in their last game. Make sure you find a way to tune in and support the Mean Green. They'll need it. Well, guys, that's all I have for sports. Oh, I'm sorry. The 2026 World Cup will be the largest sporting event we've ever seen. The question everyone has, though, is who's going to host the final? The host cities must make a bid for the FIFA final match, and it is in the ntT Stadium in Arlington. Among other candidates, the other cities that are competing to be the World Cup final venue are Atlanta, New York, and Los Angeles. A recent report from the Sunday Times United Kingdom states that SoFi, the Los Angeles stadium, may not be able to meet the proper requirements. According to the report, SoFi's field is too narrow, and widening it would remove seats that would drop the maximum capacity below FIFA's minimum requirement of 80,000 seats. AT&T Stadium doesn't have that problem, though. It is listed at capacity of 80,000, and it is expandable to 105,000. We will all be waiting for updates to see if Dallas is chosen as the venue. It will be so exciting for the city. Well, thanks for listening to sports. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Jazz. Well, Mauricio, one of the great things about sports is that it can keep you young, and if you're a family man, that means you can keep up with your kids.
Well, Noemi, then I have somebody I want you to meet. Here he is, 90-year-old Mr. Pickles, a radiated tortoise and the oldest animal at the Houston Zoo. And he's welcomed 3 new babies to his family. He and Mrs. Pickles have been together since her arrival at the zoo in 1996. These little baby reptiles are dill, gherkin, and jalapeno.
Well, 90 may not be that old, but zoo workers were surprised when Miss Pickles laid eggs. A quick-thinking worker spotted her laying them as soon as the zoo was closing, and experts took them in because the eggs would not have been able to naturally survive in the Texas soil. These little pickles are important because radiated tortoises are critically endangered.
Did you know that I actually have 2 tortoises at home?
I don't, but my biggest question is, are they gonna outlive you? I mean, they live for a pretty long time.
Well, maybe they'll get to see my grandkids if I live that long.
That's a nice little whole family. You,
Little
kids,
family reunion.
and your little tortoises. That's a nice way to end the show.
Well, thanks for watching ntTV Nightly News.
Join us again tomorrow at 6 and tomorrow at evening, like I said, at 6. Thank you for joining us here on North Texas Television.